Good morning. Hey, congratulations for taking the first step to solving your slow money blues. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine and two-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur. Today's episode is Curious Christopher. Once again, we're going to have another dynamic show. Also, big shout out once again to all my fans over in France. I really, really love you guys. Hey, check this out. If you want to do something really, really awesome for me, hey, check out our podcast. We preview the podcast. Basically, we call it a Monday sneak peek preview. And you can check it out every Monday. It launches sharply at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to it. And then today, every Tuesday, starting at 9:30 a.m., we're going to unpack and unhack this episode. Now, listen, to ask any questions, visit slowmoneyblues.com and click on Ask Doug or submit your question on IG, Facebook, or Twitter using hashtag SlowMoneyBlues. Today is going to be an awesome, awesome episode. So our main points that we're going to cover today is how curiosity leads to cash. But before we do that, I have one question for you. Did you do your homework from last week? And last week, the only thing that you were supposed to do is super duper simple, is look for new opportunities in your local marketplace. So let me just pump the brakes for a minute right here. The local marketplace is your immediate zip code. So for example, I live in the DMV, right? Which anybody that lives here, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia. That's like 2 states and 1 territory. So we have to localize it a little bit more. But I actually reside in a suburb of Northern Virginia called Stafford, Virginia. Okay. In Stafford, Virginia, there's about 65,000 residents that live here, and it is rich with businesses. In fact, not long ago, Amazon came right in our backyard, hired a boatload of people. So when I say look for new opportunities in your local market, that's what you should do. That's exactly what Amazon did. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some strategic tips and tricks on what to look for and know when an opportunity is there for the taking. But before we continue, today's sponsors are LIINKY and BIGNETDOMAIN. LIINKY.com, where basically all things are linked possible. Unlimited links. Look, if you are a professional networker, or if you're a business owner, a solopreneur, a mompreneur, or a dadpreneur, you want to go and get your free account at LIINKY.com. That's spelled LIINKY.com. Get your free account today. And guess what? It's super duper easy. It's really, really easy to get started. Just go and sign up for your free account. Also, BIGNETDOMAIN, where the net just got bigger. If you need email marketing, if you need e-commerce, if you need a website, just go there. They have you absolutely 100% complete. In fact, they're open 24 hours a day. You can call them. They never take a day off. Not even on Christmas, not even on New Year's. Somebody is always on staff to help you with any questions that you may have or any technical problems that you may have, and hopefully you don't have any of those because that's not good for business, but sometimes we run into those things. So you can go to BIGNETDOMAIN, where net just got bigger, and get your domain name, email marketing, hosting, and a host of other goodies. Also, use promo code BIGNET at checkout and you'll receive a savings. So this is the poll question for today. Kind of a simple question, but really, do you consider yourself a curious person? And it's really, really simple. Either yes, you are, no, you're not, or it depends. Well, I will tell you that I am definitely a curious person. I'm going to tell you one of the main things that I was really curious about is I would always kind of look at, if you don't know my story, listen to the episode. Listen to like the season 1. It tells you all about my story and stuff. But basically, I grew up poor. And I was always curious, like, how to become rich. I can't, because anybody that's in poverty, they don't want to be in poverty. No one wants to be poor. No one wants to be in poverty. No one wants to feel like they're left behind. No one wants to struggle, right? And I always try to figure out, like, man, how can I get that? Or I was always curious about that. Like, how did they do that? And many, many years later, I discovered how they actually did it. And I'm going to share with you about that as well. But I am naturally a curious person. And curiosity for an entrepreneur is really, really good. So if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or a dadpreneur, or mompreneur, I promise you, you're probably a super duper curious person, and chances are your curiosity always leads to some type of cash opportunity. Now, hopefully you listened to our sneak peek preview on yesterday that was launched. You can listen to where all podcasts are heard. I mean, we're going into almost any place you can listen to podcasts. We're there. We're on Amazon Music. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. We're just everywhere. So it's really, really awesome. Big ups to Anchor, who was acquired by Spotify. So thank you guys so much for what you do. So when I was growing up, there was a kid on the block that was always getting into something. And chances are you may have been that kid, or you knew someone or a group of kids that were always getting into something. So this particular kid told us that one day he was going to invent something that changes the world. Now we looked at each other and burst out laughing, but my man Christopher just kept on getting into things. Let's get personal. It's 2022, right? And I don't know about you, but I get all types of invitations to connect on LinkedIn. So I was invited to connect with someone on LinkedIn, and I checked out their profile, and I realized it was, guess who? None other than Curious Christopher. And to my surprise, Christopher is a best-selling author and publisher. In fact, he wrote a series of children's books that made him a multimillionaire, and of course, he continues to make millions. And so today we're going to be talking about what? How curiosity leads to cash. Now, if you've been watching, if you've been rocking, if you've been listening to us, if you've been listening, if you've been watching, and if you've been applying all of the basically kind of all of the teachings that I've kind of been, espousing here on Slow Money Blues, then you know that I'm always encouraging everyone to build their own personal freedom success system. Now, the reason that I say personal is because you are not your neighbor, and your neighbor is not you. You are not your brother or your sister or your aunt or your uncle or your mother or your father. You are you. And what drives you and what motivates you and what inspires you may not be the same thing that drives, motivates, and inspires all of those other people in your circle, whether they're in your inner circle or in your outer circle. The things that inspire you may not inspire them. The one thing that motivates me and the one thing that I'm curious about more than anything is freedom. Now, what's amazing is this. When you have a little bit more resources, and I look at money as a resource and a tool, it does give you a little more what I call mobility and agility. So how can curiosity lead to cash in your local market? Let me see. So today, this is like a real story. Today, I'm going to go out into the marketplace. Right now, I'm in the process of doing a lot of renovations in our beautiful home. We've been here in our new home for about 5 years, so it's time to do what we call the 5-year upgrade. And I'm going to go out in the marketplace, and I'm going to buy some accessories for some of the beautiful furniture that we just purchased. And of course, for some of the beautiful countertops that we just had installed, and the beautiful paint and the carpet and just the flooring, all of this stuff, right? So we're going to buy accent that makes it look really, really awesome. But more than anything, when I go out into the marketplace, I'm going to engage people. I'm going to be watching. I'm not going to go to DC. I'm not going to go to Maryland. I'm just going to go right down the street to an adjacent city, Fredericksburg, and I'm going to do some shopping there. But when I go out into the marketplace, I'm always watching, I'm always observing, and I'm always trying to figure out, hey man, how can I get me a little bit more freedom? And so in order to do that, I'm always looking for opportunities. And the best way really to discover pain points and opportunities is when you ask questions of people. And just ask them like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, how long you been doing it? What do you really want to do? I've said this many, many times. And believe it or not, that piques the curiosity. And it leads to so many opportunities when you're very, very curious. And so I'm always wanting to know what people are thinking about. But I have concluded in all of my research, and oh my goodness, I have talked to a lot of people, that people are always thinking about this thing called MONEY, which is that right there. However, although it looks like that's what they're thinking about, they are thinking more about freedom. When I talk to people that are not from this part of the earth called America, the reason that they say they came here was because they wanted, guess what? They wanted a better opportunity. They said, you know what? Out of all the places that I could have gone, this is the one place that I believe provides me with the greatest opportunity to, one, secure my freedom. In fact, if you know our Pledge of Allegiance, that's exactly what it's all about. I don't know how true it is, but that's what it's all about, right? It's about you securing your freedom. So my question to you is, if you live in America and your curiosity has not led you to cash, how is that possible when you live in what they call the greatest country in the world? I'm not kidding. How can so many people that were not born in this part of the earth come here with nothing, and their curiosity, which led to an opportunity, which led them to cash, and now they have secured their freedom? How have you not done that when it's all around you? And I am not kidding. If you just talk to enough people, I promise you, you will find that there are so many opportunities. So I always wanted to write a book, and I thought it was so hard. And I used to admire authors that wrote books. In fact, one of the books that's always here on this broadcast is one of my mentor, Big Brother Myron. He wrote a book, and I read his book from front to back, and I was like, man, this is a great book. I want to write a book. But I was curious, why would anybody write a book? Well, if I told you that if you wrote just one book, and if it sold 100,000 copies, it might set you free and set you up for the rest of your life. Are you curious enough about your freedom that you would sit down and write a book? Well, that's exactly what I did. I said, I got to do it. Now, the reason that I really wrote a book was because I said, man, this is another curiosity that's going to lead to more cash. Now, although I talk about money and freedom are not synonymous. Freedom is freedom and money is money. And let me explain the difference to you why. Freedom has to do with what's in between your ears. What do you believe? I talk about this all the time. Coined a phrase called belief-onomics. What's in your mind affects your bottom line, right? And once you understand that part right there, it's like everything, it's like game over. I know exactly what I want to do. So some of the ways that curiosity leads to cash is this. First of all, I always ask people this question. What is your number? Okay, I'll make it simple. What is your cash number? I'll make it even more simple. How much money would you like to make in a week, in a month, in a year? If you don't know that, then nobody knows it, because you are the one that should know that. So whether it's $100,000 a year or $1 million a year or 10 million or $100 million a year, once you have that number, now you can actually come up with a plan, also known as a scheme, right? A plan, a scheme, like a schematic, which is in everyone's home. You can come up with a plan or come up with a scheme to figure out how you are going to achieve that particular goal and give yourself a deadline when to do it. In fact, I'm looking at my calendar over here, and I'm looking at kind of like people say they have a vision board. I don't know about a vision board, but I said invest more, earn more, and health always equals wealth. So just imagine if you secure this freedom, because you secured the bag, but then you have poor health where you can't enjoy the bag that you actually secured, right? But getting back to this curious thing right here, it's just a person that likes to do research and study and analyze. Curiosity. But like I said before, the one thing that people are always curious about is, if we just remove the money, how can I make a better life for myself? So I said, you know what? I think our educational system is not doing a great job in helping people secure their freedom. I think that our educational system is doing a phenomenal job in creating drones that go and work for other people, and then they become frustrated when they realize that somebody has put a glass ceiling on them. But the reason that the glass ceiling exists is because they are working for a person that was curious enough to secure their freedom. But then they said, you know what? I need some help from other people to give me more freedom. And that's exactly what employers do. They hire employees to help them secure their freedom. And while they're helping them secure their freedom, guess what the employer is doing? Typically, they're probably on the golf course, or maybe they're going on some great, I don't know, vacation or something. Or maybe and then what that does, that allows them to meet other people that have secured their freedom, and then they just have more opportunities. Do you see how this works right here? I cannot make this up. But I'm gonna challenge you to do this. You should get curious enough that you want to secure your own freedom. Now, here's the deal. Do not try to secure your freedom at the expense of other people's freedom, right? Don't be that curious, okay? We call that exploitation. We don't want to exploit people. What we want to do is we want to empower people. So part of Slow Money Blues, literally, just walk with me a little bit, is literally helping you discover your calling, passion, and purpose, do it with excellence, and live a legendary life. If you have not developed your own personal mission statement, I promise you, the curiosity, you can have all the curiosity you want. It's not going to lead to anything because you don't have anything to anchor that curiosity, right? So literally every day when I wake up, I have a lot of ventures in place. I work with a lot of developers and stuff like that. And I'm so happy that I made a partnership with this company. I don't know. We're about 3 years into this, and I actually caught them when they were redeveloping their platform, and I got in at a price point where it's grandfathered in for like life, and they keep developing. I keep getting access to this great technology, and it's super duper awesome. I'm gonna be doing a boot camp. I have to do this boot camp. I've been telling myself I want to do a boot camp. I want to do it for the masses. This for all of the people that hey, look, I want to get out. I haven't figured out how to get out. I look around, I ask people, they won't help me. This particular clinic, this boot camp is going to be hands-on. We're going to show you like really how to do something. I don't know if I want to do it virtually, if I want to do it, if I want to do it like with a live, well, it'll be a live audience, but I don't know if I want to do it virtually with a live audience or if I want to do it with a in-person live audience. Because a boot camp, understand, is when you actually do something. It's not a seminar. It's not a lecture. It's going to be like, hey, do this now, and you need to do it. Because what I found out is when you actually start taking those steps towards your freedom, man, I'm telling you, so many doors open up to you. And I promise you that this is true if you just look and see what the pandemic did. It caused so many people to turn in on themselves and say, hey, man, do you realize I am responsible for my own freedom? Now, I'm really curious about now that I've been laid off or we've had this tragic 2-year period. What am I going to do? And so many entrepreneurs were birthed out of that because no one wants to starve. No one wants to be hungry. No one wants to go without. So their curiosity led them and inspired them to do things that they would not have otherwise done. So sometimes out of tragedy, there can actually be triumph. Big shout out to my man, Curious Christopher. So Christopher, I know that you are like a best-selling author and stuff like that, and you wrote all these children's books and stuff like that. I don't know if I have a desire to write a desire to write another book, but I'm going to tell you what, I do have a desire to be a publisher. And I promise you, we're going to be a publisher too, and we're going to help and show other people. So we're going to put other upcoming authors, would-be authors that don't know the first thing about writing a book. We're going to put them on and show them how to write a book and basically allow that book to be another revenue stream for them. And hopefully it can literally change their lives. So what are the big, well, let me digress a little bit before we get to the takeaways. So just a little quick recap. Your curiosity from an entrepreneur standpoint should always start with you first, and then let it be birthed locally. Locally means like in your local zip code, and then regionally, which means that there will be multiple zip codes, right? Probably a city, adjacent city to you or surrounding cities, that would be regionally. And then maybe statewide, that would be the whole state or territory in which you live in. And then maybe nationally, depending on how curious you are. And then, of course, now we can start talking about going international. And if you decide that you do want to go international, you definitely, and if you live in America, you probably want to reach out to Canada and to Mexico first, because we have agreements with them, right, where it makes easy for trading and stuff like that. Okay, so I just gave you some freebies, okay? So, what are our major takeaways for today? Being curious can lead to massive cash opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, um, as we begin to open up more and more, and as people begin to gather more in person, I'm telling you, you probably want to start going to as many networking opportunities as possible. And even though I don't even have to go to networking events anymore, I just love going to networking events because I just love meeting people, because I am a curious person. And guess what? There's just always opportunities. And chances are I'm going to meet somebody else there, and they're going to be like, yeah, I would love to do a joint venture with you or do a partnership. And it's awesome. So do that. What is your homework for this week? That's a great question. Visit this, and a lot of people don't take advantage of this, because this is where you know where when things are coming. Like, if you were part of your, so the homework is visit your local economic development office and introduce yourself. The reason that you want to do that is because they know what businesses are coming in, what businesses are going out. Also, if there's opportunities where you can actually partner with, or maybe you have the solution to whatever their problem may be. Visit your local economic development office and introduce yourself. Get to know who the power brokers are in your area, because they understand all the policy and everything that is immediately affecting your local marketplace. They are really this quote unquote subject matter experts. Also, if they have like a board meeting, see if you can actually tune in live or go, virtually live, or look at the pre-recorded. For our county, they actually record all of the meetings that they have, or go look at the minutes and you can read those and find out what's really going on. They have to disclose that to the public, because guess what? These people typically at the local level are locally elected officials, or they're appointed. And so you want to visit your local economic development office, introduce yourself, and tell them the services and products that you offer to the marketplace, and how can you actually get them into the local ecosystem. As always, I want you to, write, rate, and review us. Tell us how good of a job we're doing. If I'm doing a poor job, say, hey, Doug, you know what? You're doing a horrible job. It's not good. Tell me, I can take it, okay? And I'll promise you I will do better, because each day I am always trying to get better. But in conclusion, tell anyone suffering from slow money blues to tune in each Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern. My phone is okay. Eastern Standard Time. Follow, like, and share us at Slow Money Blues on social media, and join our private Facebook group. Until next time, I want you to continue to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success system. And I promise you, I will see you next Tuesday. So if you tuned into the end of the show, give yourself a big round of applause. Yay for you. Yay for yourself. I will see you next Tuesday. And hopefully, as you are curious, it will lead to more cash opportunities. I'm Doug, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye. That is quick. They be on. It was great. It was awesome.